And welcome to Story of the Day for Thursday, and today we're returning to Roald Dahl's George's Marvellous Medicine, and the chapter is entitled Marvellous Medicine Number 2. They were in the kitchen now, and the big saucepan was on the stove. All the things Mr. Cranky had brought were all lined up near the sink. "Come along, my boy," cried Mr. Cranky. "Which one did you put in first?" "This one," George said. "Golden Gloss hair shampoo." He emptied it into the pan. "Now the toothpaste," George went on, "and the shaving foam, and the face cream, and the nail varnish." "Keep at it, my boy," cried Mr. Cranky, dancing round the kitchen. "Keep putting them in. Don't stop, don't pause, don't hesitate. It's a pleasure, my dear fellow, to watch you work." One by one, George poured and squeezed the things into the saucepan. With everything so close to hand, the whole job didn't take him more than 10 minutes. But when it was all done, the saucepan didn't somehow seem quite as full as it had the first time. "Now, what did you do?" said Mr. Cranky. "Did you stir it?" "I boiled it," George said, "but not for long, and I stirred it as well." So Mr. Cranky lit the gas under the saucepan, and George stirred the mixture with the same long wooden spoon he had used before. "It's not brown enough," George said. "Wait a minute, I know what I've forgotten." "What?" cried Mr. Cranky. "Tell me quick, because if we've forgotten even one tiny thing, then it won't work. Well, at least not in the same way." "A quart of brown gloss paint," George said. "That's what I've forgotten." Mr. Cranky shot out the house and into his car like a rocket. He sped down to the village and brought the paint and rushed back again. He opened the can in the kitchen and handed it to George. George poured the paint onto the saucepan. "Ah, that's better," said George. "That's more like the right colour." "It's boiling!" cried Mr. Cranky. "It's ready," said George. "At least I hope it is." "Right," shouted Mr. Cranky, hopping about. "Let's test it. Let's give some to a chicken." "Heavens alive, why don't you calm down a bit?" Mrs. Cranky said, coming into the kitchen. "Calm down? You expect me to calm down when we're mixing up the greatest medicine ever discovered in the history of the world?" George crouched down, holding on to a spoonful of Marvellous Medicine Number 2. "Come on, chicken," he said. "Good chicken. Chick, chick, chick." A white chicken with black specks on its feathers looked up at George. It walked over to the spoon and went peck. The effect that the medicine Number 2 had on the chicken was not quite the same as the effect produced by medicine Number 1, but it was very interesting. "Whoosh!" shrieked the chicken, and it shot 6 feet up in the air and came down again. Then sparks came flying out of its beak, bright yellow sparks of fire, as though someone was sharpening a knife on the grindstone inside its tummy. Then its legs began to grow longer and longer. Its body stayed the same size, but the 2 thin yellow legs got longer and longer still. "Something's wrong," George said. The legs went on growing, and the more they grew, the higher up into the air went the chicken's body. When the legs were about 15 feet long, they stopped growing. The chicken looked perfectly absurd with its long legs and its ordinary little body perched up on top. It was like it was on stilts. "Oh, my sainted aunts!" cried Mr. Cranky. "We've got it wrong. This chicken's no good to anybody. It's all legs. No one wants chicken's legs." "I must have left something out," George said. "I know you've left something out," cried Mr. Cranky. "Think, boy, think! What was it that you left out?" "I've got it," said George. "What was it? Quick!" "Flea powder for dogs," George said. "You mean you put flea powder in the first one?" "Yes, Dad, I did. A whole carton of it." "Then that's the answer." "Wait a minute," said George. "Did we have brown shoe polish on our list?" "We did not. I used that too." "Well, no wonder it went wrong," said Mr. Cranky. He was already running to his car, and soon he was heading down to the village to buy more flea powder and more shoe polish. And tomorrow we'll pick up to read Marvellous Medicine Number 3.